Hi, I'm Jasmine. People say I'm too forgiving, too willing to see the best in others even when they don't deserve it. That's probably why I agreed to bring my 7-year-old son, Lucas, to my sister's birthday party. Despite knowing how my grandmother feels about children at adult gatherings, I should have trusted my instincts. "Where's Lucas?" I asked my sister Vanessa as I returned from the store with the ice cream she'd forgotten. "I've been gone less than 20 minutes. Vanessa's eyes darted to our cousin Michael before answering. "I think he's playing somewhere. You know how kids are." "Actually, I don't see any of the kids," I said, noticing the unusual quiet. "Where are Auntie Carol's twins?" Michael cleared his throat. "Grandma Eleanor suggested they all play in the basement, said they were being too loud." Something in his tone made my heart race. Michael never could lie convincingly. "The basement? The door's locked. I checked earlier because Lucas wanted to see Uncle Rob's model trains." "Well, maybe they're in the backyard," Vanessa suggested, her voice rising slightly. "Can you help me with these appetizers? Everyone's getting hungry." I ignored her, heading toward the backyard. Empty. The swing set abandoned. "Jasmine, seriously, they're fine," Vanessa called after me. "Can we just focus on my party for once?" I turned to face her. "For once? Everything is always about you, Vanessa. Always." That's when I noticed my grandmother watching us from the kitchen doorway, arms crossed, lips pressed into that familiar disapproving line. "Where's my son, Grandma Eleanor?" "Enjoying some quiet time," she replied coldly. "He was disrupting Vanessa's special day with his excessive energy." "Where is he?" "Check the garage," Michael whispered as he passed behind me. I tried to tell them it wasn't right. I ran through the house, ignoring Vanessa's protests. The garage door was locked from the outside with a padlock. "Lucas," I called, pressing my ear against the door. A small voice answered. "Mommy, I want to come out now." When I finally broke the lock and swung the door open, I found my son sitting on the cold concrete floor, his ankle secured to a metal shelving unit with what appeared to be a bicycle chain and padlock. His eyes were red from crying. "What happened, baby?" I asked, kneeling beside him, hands shaking as I examined the chain. "Grandma said I was being too loud and ruining Auntie Vanessa's birthday." He sniffled. "She said I had to stay here until I learned to be quiet around adults." "I tried to be quiet, Mommy. I promise." "Mrs. Reeves from next door heard him crying," said a voice behind me. My cousin Daniel stood in the doorway, looking ashamed. "She came over to check if everything was okay. Grandma told her it was just a child having a tantrum." I found the key on a hook by the door and unlocked the chain, pulling Lucas into my arms. "How long has he been here?" I demanded. Daniel couldn't meet my eyes. "Almost 2 hours. I'm so sorry, Jasmine. I should have said something sooner." "Who else knew about this?" "Everyone," he admitted. "Grandma said it was for his own good, that kids today need more discipline." As I carried Lucas out, cradling him close, I locked eyes with my grandmother standing in the kitchen doorway. "This is not over," I told her, my voice deadly calm. "Not by a long shot." "Tell me exactly what happened, Lucas," Detective Martinez said gently, sitting across from us at the police station the next morning. Her kind eyes stayed focused on my son's face, not the notepad where she occasionally jotted things down. Lucas squeezed my hand. "Grandma Eleanor said I was being too wild. I was just playing tag with Emma and Zach. She grabbed my arm really tight and said she had a special quiet place for me." "Did anyone try to stop her?" the detective asked. "Aunt Vanessa said it was her birthday and everyone should listen to Grandma." His voice wavered. Uncle Daniel looked sad, but he didn't say anything. The detective glanced at me before continuing. "What happened next, Lucas?" "She took me to the garage and put the chain around my ankle. She said I could come out when I learned to be quiet." His bottom lip trembled. "I was really scared of the spiders." After Lucas finished his statement, Officer Kendrick took him to see the police station's therapy dog while I spoke with Detective Martinez privately. "We'll be investigating this fully," she assured me. "Child endangerment is a serious offense. We'll need statements from everyone present." My phone buzzed with Vanessa's fifth call of the morning. I declined it again. My family thinks I'm overreacting, I told the detective. My sister left 3 voicemails saying I'm tearing the family apart over Grandma's old-school discipline. Chaining a child is not discipline, Miss Carter. It's abuse. As I left the station, I found Daniel waiting by my car. I need to talk to you, he said, running a hand through his hair. This isn't the first time Grandma's done something like this. What are you talking about? Remember Cousin Sophia's son? How he suddenly refused to visit after that Christmas 5 years ago? Grandma locked him in the coat closet for hours because he opened his presents too eagerly. My stomach dropped. Why didn't anyone say anything? You know how it is with Grandma. Everyone's terrified of her. She's the family matriarch, controls the inheritance, the family property, everything. That doesn't excuse child abuse, Daniel. I know. That's why I'm here. He handed me his phone. I recorded Vanessa and Grandma talking last night after you left. They didn't know I was in the hallway. I pressed play, hearing my sister's frantic voice. Mom's talking about calling a lawyer, Grandma. This could be serious. Nonsense, my grandmother's voice replied. I was simply teaching the boy manners. In my day, children knew their place. But you can't chain a kid up. What if child services gets involved? Then you'll back me up. Tell them the boy was out of control, that I was preventing him from hurting himself. That's not what happened. Do you want your inheritance or not, Vanessa? The beach house you've always wanted? Remember who's in charge of this family? I stopped the recording, feeling sick. She's bribing them to lie. Not everyone, Daniel said firmly. I'll testify. So will Michael. And Mrs. Reeves saw everything. My phone rang again. This time it was my mother. Jasmine, you need to drop this, she said immediately. Your grandmother is beside herself. She chained my son in a garage, Mom, for hours. She's from a different generation. She doesn't understand today's parenting methods. This isn't about parenting methods. It's about basic human decency. Just come to dinner tonight. We can talk this through as a family. I looked at Daniel, who shook his head firmly. No, I told my mother. I'm done talking. From now on, my lawyer will do the talking for me. You've gone too far this time, Jasmine, Grandmother Eleanor said, sitting regally in her armchair as I entered her living room. She'd insisted on this meeting, claiming she wanted to resolve things privately. I'd brought my friend Tara, a social worker, as a witness. I've gone too far? You chained my 7-year-old son in a garage? I secured an out-of-control child in a safe environment until he calmed down, she corrected, as if discussing the weather. Children today lack proper boundaries. Tara shifted beside me but remained silent, observing. He was playing tag, Grandma, being a normal kid. He was shrieking like a banshee and knocking things over. Vanessa deserved a dignified birthday celebration. The doorbell rang. My mother hurried to answer it, returning with Detective Martinez and another officer. What is this? Grandmother demanded. Jasmine, dismiss these people immediately. I can't do that, Mrs. Carter, the detective said. We have some questions regarding an incident involving your great-grandson. My mother stepped between them. This is a family matter. We're handling it privately. Child endangerment is not a private family matter, ma'am. Grandmother rose to her full height, impressive despite her age. I've raised 3 generations of this family. No one has ever questioned my methods. Maybe they should have, I said quietly. Daniel told me about Sophia's son and the Anderson twins. How many children have you locked up over the years, Grandma? Color drained from my mother's face. Those were different circumstances. Were they? I challenged. Or did everyone just look the other way because they were afraid of losing their inheritance? Grandmother's eyes narrowed. You ungrateful girl. After everything I've done for this family, for you. You haven't done anything for me since Mom and Dad divorced. You made it clear I wasn't a real Carter anymore. That's not true, my mother protested weakly. Isn't it? Why was Vanessa's birthday so important that my son deserved to be chained up for disturbing it? Because she's the golden granddaughter, the real Carter. The front door opened again, and Vanessa walked in, freezing when she saw the police. "What's going on?" "Your sister is attempting to destroy this family," grandmother said coldly. "After everything I've done for all of you." "What you've done is commit a crime," Detective Martinez interjected. "Mrs. Carter, we have witness statements confirming you restrained a minor against his will in dangerous conditions." "I was disciplining an unruly child." "By chaining him like an animal?" I stepped closer, voice shaking with anger. "He has nightmares now. He's afraid of the dark, of being left alone." "You're overreacting," Vanessa said. "It wasn't that serious." "Would you say that if it was your child?" She faltered. That's different." "How? How is it different, Vanessa?" "Because your kid is out of control. You've always been a pushover, letting him run wild." "Miss Carter," the detective interrupted, addressing my grandmother. "I'm placing you under arrest for child endangerment and unlawful restraint of a minor." "This is outrageous!" grandmother sputtered as the officer read her rights. "Vanessa, call my attorney immediately." As they led her toward the door, she turned to me, her expression suddenly softer. "Jasmine, darling, surely we can discuss this reasonably. I'm an old woman. I meant no harm." "You meant exactly what you did," I replied, unmoved by the performance. "You always do." "I'm sorry if I overreacted. The boy is fine, isn't he? No lasting harm done." "Save your apologies for the judge, Grandma. They're worth nothing to me." All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Rivera presiding in the matter of State versus Eleanor Carter. 6 weeks after that day in the garage, I sat in the courtroom, Lucas safely at school under his teacher's watchful eye. My grandmother sat at the defendant's table, looking smaller and older than I remembered, but her spine remained ramrod straight. "The defendant has agreed to a plea arrangement," the prosecutor announced. "In exchange for a guilty plea to misdemeanor child endangerment, the state recommends 2 years probation, mandatory counseling, and a restraining order protecting the minor victim." My lawyer, Miss Winters, leaned over. "It's a good deal, Jasmine. She'll have a record, and the restraining order keeps Lucas safe." I nodded, though part of me had wanted to see my grandmother serve time. After the proceedings, I found myself face to face with my mother and Vanessa in the courthouse lobby. "Are you satisfied now?" Vanessa demanded. "Grandma's reputation is ruined. Everyone in town is talking." "Good," I replied. "Maybe it'll make other people think twice before abusing children." "It wasn't abuse," my mother insisted weakly. "She made a mistake." "A mistake is forgetting to pick someone up. Chaining a child in a garage is a deliberate choice." "She's changed her will, you know," Vanessa said, her true concern finally emerging. "You and Lucas are completely cut off." I laughed, genuinely amused. "You think I care about her money? That I'd trade my son's safety for an inheritance?" "Families should stick together," my mother pleaded. "Eleanor is still your grandmother." "No," I said firmly. "She lost that right when she put a chain around my son's ankle." Daniel approached, standing supportively beside me. "The family meeting's about to start. Are you coming?" My mother looked confused. "What meeting?" "The rest of the family is gathering at Michael's house," Daniel explained. "Sophia's coming, and Uncle Rob. Turns out when you start talking about what Grandma did, a lot of people have similar stories." "You're destroying decades of family history," Vanessa accused. "No," I corrected her. "I'm breaking a cycle of abuse that's been going on for those same decades. There's a difference." 3 months later, I sat in my therapist's office, describing the changes in our family. "Lucas is doing much better," I told Dr. Bennett. "The nightmares are less frequent, and he's comfortable playing at friends' houses again." "And how are things with your family?" "Different. My mother calls weekly, trying to arrange a reconciliation with grandmother. I always refuse." "That must be difficult." "Not really. I've found my backbone, and I've found who my real family is." I showed her a photo on my phone from the previous weekend, a barbecue with Daniel, Michael, Sophia, and their families. Lucas was smiling, playing with his cousins without fear. "We've started a new tradition," I explained. "Sunday dinners with the people who stood up for what was right, the people who protected my son when it mattered." "And your grandmother?" completed her anger management course according to the terms of her probation, sent a formal letter of apology through her lawyer. I shrugged. I read it, then shredded it. You don't believe she's sorry? I believe she's sorry she got caught, not sorry for what she did. There's a difference. I paused, considering. You know what Lucas asked me last week? He asked if being a family means you have to forgive people when they hurt you. What did you tell him? I told him that real love doesn't hurt and real family protects you. That forgiveness is your choice, not something anyone is entitled to. I smiled, thinking of his thoughtful nod. I told him that sometimes the family you choose is stronger than the family you're born into. As I left the office, my phone pinged with a message from Daniel. Family dinner this Sunday? Michael's making his famous lasagna. I smiled and typed back. We'll be there. Lucas is bringing brownies. Some chains I'd learned were meant to be broken forever. Have you ever had to create boundaries with family members to protect yourself or your children? What did you learn from the experience? Share your thoughts in the comments below.